Hey there, YouTubers. It's Luis. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's out making money. So today I got a hot topic, and this is something has come up recently that was brought to my attention, and it's about our favorite motor club, Agero, the evil empire, the worst of the worst in my book of motor clubs out there. So what I'm holding here is their new terms and conditions that went into effect February 15th, 2020. This just came out of nowhere. I don't remember them sending any surveys out, reaching out to service providers, or gave them, an adequate amount of a heads up that they were going to do this. And I think they know something is up, and they're looking into the future for potential litigations against them, and lawsuits and class action lawsuits and protests from service providers. So they're getting themselves ready. So I caught wind of this because I had several service providers from all over the country that follow this channel, and I thank them very much for bringing me aware to the situation. And they pretty much told me the rundown on what's going on and how this is going to affect them as a business, and they don't know what to do, and it's sad because I see a lot of businesses going out of business, and one thing I hate is seeing small businesses go out of business. There's nothing worse than that. Family-owned businesses are what keeps this country going. So, anyways, here I'm holding the terms and conditions, and I'm not going to read this, line by line, but I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of some of the changes and some of the things that I've noticed in this packet. One of the biggest things that a lot of providers are upset about is Agero raised their requirements for commercial auto liability. I remember, I think it was $350,000, don't quote me on that, but now they are requiring $1 million policy, and they also even upped the garage keeper's policy. Now, I've always had $1 million policy just because people were so happy in this society that if you have anything less than that, you could be filing for bankruptcy and personally sued. So, you should have that not to fulfill motor club requirements, but to protect yourself as a business owner. So, a lot of guys that don't leave state lines, that aren't on a police rotation or do any municipality towing, don't have $1 million coverage. But now Agero is requiring them to have it. And they're upset because the rates are not going up. And time again, I have said it, that these motor clubs need to start doing something with the rates, because the rates don't reflect the expenses of what us service providers incur in the industry. They're offering rates that were normal in the 90s, in the early 90s. It's 2020 and we're still offering the same rates. So it bugs me that they have the nerve to ask us to increase our expenses when they can't even raise our wages, raise our rates. It's obscure. I don't know what they're thinking, and I've said it before. Agero operates on a champagne taste, but they're on a beer budget. And unfortunately, a lot of companies are going to be going under because of this. I have heard numbers from anywhere from, $200 to $400 a month in premium increases to $3,600 per truck in increases. That's insane. I'd get out of the business if my insurance agent was like, it's going to be an additional $3,600 per truck for your policy. I'd get out of the business completely. So that's a big deal. And like I said, you're going to see a lot of people go under, and a lot of out of network companies are going to be getting that influx of calls. I can see that happening. And it's not going to work well in Agero's favor, because they're going to get the crap banged out of them for credit cards. Another thing that I've noticed here that bothers me is pretty much the damage waivers that I use here that all my customers sign. Agero pretty much says it's useless to them, that it's not deemed effective and doesn't matter to them. That's kind of a slap in the face, because I find my damage waiver, my injury waiver to be very effective, especially for those people that are trying to extort me fraudulently for money. And, I've had people who have tried to extort me. I did a video on a woman who claimed to have gotten burnt getting in and out of my truck. Never went to the doctor, never said anything to me, never filed a police report, went straight to Agero. And I confronted her personally with the damage waiver that she signed, and guess what? She dropped it. Anyways, so one of the biggest things that I see here, and I don't remember this ever being in their previous terms and conditions, and this is new to me. I might have overlooked it in the past, and I can't stress this enough, but you need to really read through these contracts and read through terms and conditions, because you never know what you're agreeing to. And like I said before, Agero is getting ready for something big, and I think a big class action lawsuits is in the works. So at the very back of this, I think it's section 5, it pretty much states that if you agree to these terms and conditions, you cannot sue Agero, you cannot take Agero to a court of law, a small claims court, or partake in any class action suit. That's a good way to cover your butt. So if a dispute arises, you have to go in front of arbitration. For those of you that don't know what arbitration is, it's not a court of law. There's no judge, there's no jury. Parties pick an arbitrator from a list of arbitrators that are certified, and they pretty much sit in a room, and the arbitrator decides on what side he's going to favor for. Now, a lot of people like arbitration because it's cheaper and it's faster. Where if you go to a court of law, it can take up to a year for your case to be heard. And and with arbitration, it's a matter of weeks. So, anyways, I'm not a big fan of arbitration, and one of the biggest reasons is because it is so hard to get a decision appealed or reversed if an arbitrator makes errors. Another thing that I don't like is that you don't have to bring witnesses. All you need to do is bring affidavits. So an affidavit is just a sworn statement. You can't even cross-examine witnesses. And that's a huge deal, especially as shady as Agero is. Who knows if those affidavits are even real? We're in a court of law, people have to come in and testify, and you can cross-examine them, and you can break them down to see if there's irregularities in their story, if they're lying. And that is a huge deal, and then you can't, like I said, you can't appeal it. So if a decision is made, that's pretty much it. It's set in stone. It's crazy, that they have the audacity to say that if you agree to this, you waive your right to sue them. So if you're agreeing to this, good luck. If they end up shorting you on money, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, you're gonna have to go to a court of arbitration. I have a feeling it ain't gonna work in favor of the service providers. And they're very sneaky, because I bet you a lot of people don't know this. So here in bold letterings, and I'm not gonna read it word for word, but word for word. But let me backtrack a little bit. If you go on agerosupport.com, you get this term and conditions before you can proceed into the next page on agerosupport.com. This pops up, and at the very bottom, there's a green bar that you have to click to agree to it. Now, you don't necessarily have to click it to agree to it, but if you unknowingly accept a dispatch for them, you've agreed to the terms and conditions. These new terms and conditions, without even knowing it. That there is very shady and unethical stuff. They're pulling the wool over your eyes by doing this stuff. And there's a lot of providers out there that don't realize that they just waive their rights to be able to go after this company in a court of law. So I never really formally canceled my contract with Agero. I haven't done a call for Agero since August. Since then, they have stopped contacting me, and I think that's because of me hitting them for credit cards and also this YouTube channel. But I was still in their network. So I made it a deal today to call them up and told them to completely remove me off the network, that I don't want to be on their list of anything. I don't want to be able to log into Agero support, period. So I'm done with it, you know. And like I said before, I think they're getting ready because a lot of providers are starting to stand up. And I'm curious to see what happens. And for those of you that agree to these terms and conditions, you know, I wish you the best. Like I said, I don't want to see businesses fail. But these terms and conditions are not designed to work in your favor. And, you know, I'm going to continue to be vocal about this company. It's, you know, they've put a lot of companies out of business. Anyways, that's all I got for you YouTubers. You know, thanks for watching the video. Please hit like and subscribe. Slow down, move over. And if anybody's got any comments, you know, unleash comments on this video. Tell me how you feel. Tell me what you're going to do, if you're going to raise your limits, how much it has gone up in price. I want to hear it all. So don't be afraid to comment on it. And once again, thanks for watching.